Welcome to my class, student. It's class 6 English Honeysuckle chapter 3 Taro's Reward, and this is session 1. We are going to start a new chapter, that is Taro's Reward, and this story is very interesting. Let's start. Now, what is the introductory lines for this story? This is a story about a thoughtful and loving son. He works hard to fulfill his parents' wishes and gets some unexpected help. Now, the story starts. A young woodcutter named Taro lived with his mother and father on a lonely hillside. All day long, he chopped wood in the forest. Though he worked very hard, he earned very little money. This made him sad, for he was a thoughtful son and wanted to give his old parents everything they needed. Actually, he was the only son of his parents, so he was always trying to make their life comfortable because they were little poor and they used to live on a lonely hillside, and he was a woodcutter. And he was very young, so he wanted to earn money. He wanted to help his parents and give them a comfortable life. So he was, what is the adjective that is used to describe Taro? He was a thoughtful son. So he was a very thoughtful and loving son. See how chopped? This is cut into pieces. He was a woodcutter. He used to chop the trees and cut into pieces. See, here is Taro, a very thoughtful and loving son. Father and mother, they are living in a hut and it is on a hillside. One evening, when Taro and his parents were sitting in a corner of their hut, a strong wind began to blow. It whistled through the cracks of the hut and everyone felt very cold. Suddenly, Taro's father said, "I wish I had a cup of sake. It would warm me and do my old heart good." So what was the wish of the father? As it was very cold and cold breeze was blowing, strong wind was blowing, so he wanted to have a very strong hot sake. Sake is what? Sake is the drink. So Taro's father was an old one, and as you know, old people are very uncomfortable when it is very cold. So what happened next? Word meaning, let's go through it. Whistle through, pass through with a whistling sound. Cracks, narrow gaps, openings. Sake, a popular Japanese drink. Sa is pronounced like a fa in father and K rhymes with way. Right? So this is the name of the drink. You see, these are the openings, these are the cracks from which the strong wind is going inside. This made Taro sadder than ever, for the heartwarming drink called sake was very expensive. Why Taro was very sad? Because he knew he could not afford to buy sake as they were very poor, and he was very sad because his father's wish he couldn't fulfill. So, how do I earn more money? He asked himself. How do I get a little sake for my poor old father? He decided to work harder than before. So here you are seeing harder. Again, this is a degree of comparison. Harder. This is degree of comparison. Degree of comparison. and this is comparative degree. This is a comparative degree. Comparative degree, harder. So you are seeing degree of comparison in this story. Now expensive, very costly. Next morning, Taro jumped out of bed earlier than usual and made his way to the forest. Now again you are seeing comparative degree earlier. He chopped and cut as the sun climbed, and soon he was so warm that he had to take off his jacket. His mouth was dry and his face was wet with sweat. My poor old father, he thought, if only he was as warm as. He was such a loving and thoughtful son. He always used to provide comforts to his parents. So when he was feeling very hot, he started thinking, if only his father would get such warmth, or otherwise he is suffering from cold. Word meaning made his way to, that is went to. And with that he began to chop even faster, thinking of the extra money he must earn to buy the sake to warm the old man's bones. Then suddenly Taro stopped chopping. What was that sound he heard? Could it possibly be rushing water? It was a very amazing thing. Sound of a rushing water on a hillside. So here you are seeing WH interrogative sentence, WH type, intro sentence, interrogative sentence. You are saying WH type and you are saying yes no type of interrogative sentence. See here, could it be? This is yes or no type interrogative sentences. Could it be? Could it possibly be rushing water? So here you are seeing two types of interrogative questions, sentences. Taro could not remember ever seeing or hearing a rushing stream in that part of the forest. Now, suddenly it appeared. He was thirsty. The axe dropped out of his hands and he ran in the direction of the sound. Taro saw a beautiful little waterfall hidden behind a rock. Kneeling at a place where the water flowed quietly, he cupped a little in his hands and put it to his lips. Was it water or was it sake? He tasted it again, and always it was the delicious sake instead of cold water. ऐसे अगर चॉकलेट का आपको झरना मिल जाए तो always it will be waterfall that will taste you like chocolate. So he has got a waterfall in which sake was flowing. So cupped a little in his hand, took some water in his hands as if in the cup, and this is delicious, is very tasty. So what have we learned in this story? The first part of the story, we have heard about this boy Taro. He is a young son of old parents. He was a very thoughtful and loving son. One day it was very cold and his father wished to have a cup of sake. The son was very sad because sake was very expensive drink and he couldn't afford it. So he went to the forest and he decided to work harder. He chopped trees and he worked hard, and suddenly he heard about the sound of rushing water. He was very amazed because he did never know or hear about the presence of waterfall in that area. But when he heard the sound, he ran towards that sound and he found a waterfall behind a rock. He was very tired, he was very thirsty, so he drank water. Then what he found? He found it was not water, it was sake. It was that delicious, expensive sake that his father wished. So, who did this magic? What happened when he went to home? What happened when people came to know about it? We will learn in the next session. Till then, have a good revision of this. Enjoy the story. See the grammatical parts. Thank you.